Ain't a bad shot.
Hello and welcome to Real Estate with Tracy. I'm Tracy Gerard, your trusted and dedicated realtor, here to help you navigate the exciting world of real estate. Whether you're buying your first home, relocating for military services, luxury properties, or investment opportunities, I'm here to provide expert advice and insider tips. So join me as we explore the latest market trends and answer all of your real estate questions. I'm ready to explore the exciting world of real estate with you. So let's talk about it. You can reach me at 804-400-0456.
Awesome. Welcome to Real Estate with Tracy. I am your host, Tracy Gerard, and we are on the mic with
Mike.
the King. Mike, how's it going, Mike?
I'm good. Welcome. Well, so what am I saying welcome to you for? This is your show.
Yes, I'm welcoming you.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
So today, what are we going to be discussing today? We are going to be discussing tips and tricks to prepare you for the home buying process.
And there's no better person to come from than you because you are the best at it.
Specialize in
You specialize in. So tell people who you are, what you do, and how they can reach you.
Yes, I am Tracy Gerard again, and you can reach me at 804-400-0456. I am your trusted and dedicated real estate agent. I have been doing this for a very long time, and I am just here to, again, just to kind of prep people and prepare people for before you purchase your first home or even before you decide to sell your home. We're going to be discussing tips like that in a later show.
Because it's not just to wake up one day, boom, I'm going to do it, and I'm ready.
Yes.
There's a preparation process.
There is a preparation process, yes.
Okay, so what's the first step?
So the first step that you want to do is you want to check your credit. So I just always ask people, how many times do you check your credit?
People don't, because they're
check their
scared.
credit.
They're scared to look under the covers.
They scared to look under the covers, exactly.
You know when you were a kid, bad thing, you didn't look under the bed. Bad things was under the bed.
Right.
So that credit score may be under the bed.
That credit score sometimes gets great, but sometimes we can have some blemishes on our credit and we are just afraid to look at it. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to go to a site. It's www.annualcreditreport.com. So on this site, it would allow you to pull your credit once a year. It's going to give you a copy of all three credit reports from all three credit reporting agencies. This site is not going to give you a score, but it will allow you to see exactly what is on your credit reports. Also.
So when a lot of times people want to know what their score is.
Yes.
So you go to the one you're talking about, it doesn't give you the score. So you know people are going to be in anxiety mode of what's my score.
Yes.
What should they do?
So, well, if you want to check your score, you can go to things like Credit Karma. You can go to like your bank normally will keep track of your credit score. However, a mortgage consultant is going to run, they're going to check all three scores. Okay. Sometimes Credit Karma only checks like retail merchants or Experian, and sometimes you can have merchants that only report to only one credit reporting agency and not all three. So this will give you the opportunity to look at all three credit reports and just kind of get you ahead of the game. You know, so if there are any blemishes on your report, if your identity have been compromised, because that's happening. I mean, that's the world we live in. Sometimes, you know, people steal your identity, they run up credit cards and things like that, and you have no idea that is happening until you actually look at it and run your credit report.
Very quickly as a side note, what happens to someone what would your advice to be that somebody looks on their report and all of a sudden they see all this activity that wasn't them? What should they do?
They need to scream. No.
I know. They're doing that when they saw it.
So the first thing that you want to do is you want to contact all three agencies. You want to contact Retail Merchants, TransUnion, and Experian, and you want to put like an alert on there to let them know that your identity has been compromised. But it is a really, really long process to correct that when that happens. And so it's easier when you catch it early, which is the reason why I would say no matter if you're buying a house or not, it's just always important to check your score. I mean, not your score, but check your credit report every year. And you can do that by that site, www.annualcreditreport.com.
Okay, that's the first thing to do. I want to buy a house.
Yes.
I want to buy a house, and now that is the first thing. Also, you tell us now, these are coming from you because you're an expert.
Yes.
A lot of people, there are a million, and I say this all the time, there are a million real estate agents in Richmond. There's not a million. 750,000.
Yes.
There's a bunch, but most of them do it on the side hustle. That
Yes.
this is what you do.
This is what I do.
This is what you do. Because when you do walk in, people hear, they're like, hey, Tracy Gerard is here.
Yes.
You are an expert. So the first step you talked about right there was the credit score. Get that. Now all of a sudden budgeting. How much house can I afford?
How much house can you afford? Yes. And you definitely want to start budgeting early. You don't want to wait until your lease is up in 60 days and then you want to try to go and start to buy a house now. You want to start budgeting now. You want to start this process again early on and start saving. And this is even if you qualify for 100% financing and you don't need a down payment. Like say for instance you qualify for a VA loan or a USDA loan or you're getting grants or something like that and you don't need a down payment. You still want to budget and you still want to have some savings because it just looks good to an underwriter when you have savings in your account.
And savings that you can account for.
Savings that you can account
Not
for.
just-
We're
not
going to
just-
talk about that on another show.
Not just, hey, I just pulled up, 50 grand from under the mattress and stuck it in there
Yes.
the day before I come to you.
Yes. So again, on this show, this is what we're going to be discussing. We're not necessarily going to discuss that today, but that is just one of the tips.
I have some
and
explaining to do with that. Yes. So budgeting. That's we have to know how much house we can afford.
Yes, yes.
How often do people know before they talk to you how much house they can afford?
Well, they don't. They don't. So what your lender will do is they will one of the deciding factors of approving you is called a debt to income ratio. So what they'll do is they'll look at how much money you have coming in versus how much money you have coming out, and they come up with this number. Now, I always tell my clients, don't just go off the number that the lender gives you.
Okay.
You want to go ahead and take a deep dive into your own finances. You want to do your own debt to income ratio, because what the lender is going to do is they're going to look at, again, how much money you have going in versus how much money you have going out, but they're not going to include your lifestyle. Okay? So you need to calculate
Your lifestyle.
Your lifestyle in with that budget, because they may say that you are approved for a $2,000 a month monthly payment, okay? But they're not calculating I like to go out to eat, I like to buy shoes, I like to...
They didn't take all that into account.
They didn't take all that into consideration. So you need to take a deep dive into your own finances.
So you get the number that they give you, and then you realistically put it into your model.
Yes. What I always like to tell my clients is to work backwards. Don't go in and say how much house I qualify for. Go in and say, I'm comfortable with a $1,500 a month house payment. What does that number look like?
What does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before we get off of we have to circle back to credit. When a person sees but really quickly, ways to improve your credit.
There are ways to improve your credit, and I am a perfect example of that. I don't know if some of you who've heard my story. I lost everything back in 2012. When I say everything, I mean everything. Okay, I had to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy, lost my car, I lost when the market crashed. I lost everything. They didn't even have a score lower enough than what my score was. My score was low. But it doesn't matter what happened. You can get better, and you can bring your score up. It does take time. Okay?
Well, if you were there, you hit rock bottom in 12, and we're here in 24.
Yes.
It's not forever and ever.
It's not forever and ever. And it definitely didn't take 10 years. It just didn't. It does take a few years.
People think that it's going to take me, what am I doing this for? Because it's going to take too long.
Yes, and that is just not the case. A lot of people just give up because they just don't see the end result. But I am here to tell you. I'm here to tell you that
you're a living witness.
I'm a living witness to tell you that there is an end result. And you can go on to buy. I've bought several houses after that. I buy investment properties, and you can... And I got a good score, so you can...
All right, so when you're looking from the bottom, you're at the bottom looking up at badness. Then all of a sudden you realize you can buy a house.
Yes.
What was that like when all of a sudden you were like, wow, it wasn't that long ago that I was on the scrap heap, and now all of a sudden
Yes.
I can do it. What was that like?
It's amazing. It's a huge accomplishment because when you've lost everything, you don't see, like, you can't see it. There's no way I even imagine that I would be able to do what I'm doing right now. But it took consistency. I had the will to do it. I had goals, and I was like, okay, no matter what it takes, I'm going to, if I have to eat hot dogs and bologna sandwiches for a year or whatever, like, this is what I'm going to do because this is my end goal.
And when you looked up and realized, how long was it that you were like, okay, I'm sort of coming out of this thing right here? How long was it?
After everything that I lost, it was about 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you look up one day, you're like, hey, I'm pretty good.
But most people are not that bad. They may go through a divorce, they may have a job loss, and they may have some lates on their credit. Sometimes it just doesn't take that long.
But they didn't know because they didn't check.
Know because they didn't have the education, and again, that's sort of like what the show is for. So.
And the name of the program is?
Real Estate with Tracy.
And how can people find Tracy?
804-400-0456.
Alrighty. And so what we talked about the credit score, we talked about budgeting. Now all of a sudden, we gotta worry about and get the money, the down payment, which everybody worries about. Mm-hmm. Everybody. I think the first thing people worry about is the mortgage payment, and then the next one is this down payment thing.
Well, I will tell you a lot of, and the biggest misconception with purchasing a home is I need 20% down.
We've always heard that.
That's just totally not the case. Some of my first-time home buyers don't bring absolutely no money to the closing table. Like, they have a grant, they have 100% financing, and the seller pays the closing. And they bring nothing to the table.
And how do they look at Tracy when they're sitting at that table like that?
Yes.
They're looking at you like...
It's good, but that's what I love to do. That is what I love to do. That's why I love working with first-time home buyers, and then just taking the time to give them those options, because there are options out there. You don't need a lot of money to purchase a home, and most of them are paying the mortgage anyway. You're just paying someone else's mortgage.
Yeah, that's
paying
true.
A mortgage.
You're paying a mortgage.
You're paying a mortgage.
It may be called something different. It may be called rent, but a mortgage.
But you're paying a mortgage.
A mortgage is being paid. Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're telling people one of the tricks of the trade here is there's free money that's out there, grants, programs.
Yes.
Don't get scared off by the 20%.
Don't get scared off by the 20%. Yeah, that's just not the case. The 20% rule is for if someone wants to get rid of their PMI insurance or private mortgage insurance, and that's the only reason why people really want to put down 20%.
For the folks who are out there, explain what that PMI is.
PMI insurance is just private mortgage insurance. It's just insurance that the lender will charge you. It's just like car insurance, but it's just in the event that you default on a loan, that it's insurance on the loan.
Oh, okay.
That's all that is, right? And you can get rid of that by putting the 20% down. But as a first-time home buyer, the whole goal as a first-time home buyer is just to buy the house.
It's to get in there.
Get in the house. It may not be the house it may not be your dream home. Your first home is probably not going to be your dream home. But you want to buy the house. You want to live in it for a few years, okay? You want to let it grow in equity. And then at some point, you can take that equity and buy your dream home.
Okay. How's the market these days?
Of course.
Oh, wait, okay, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say somebody is doing something.
It's great for somebody.
It's great. Okay. I've never heard anybody say that. I ask people, they're like, well, some people have a great, well, Mike, now mortgage, the rates are so, you're like, it's good for somebody.
It's always great.
It is good for somebody. Okay, so we're here. Tracy Gerard, Real Estate Rock Star, is with us, and this is her program, and it's called
Real Estate with Tracy.
Alrighty, so now let's get to this point. You've been in this real estate game for a while, and you used to just go out and look at houses. And you say your mother is a serial looker at a houser.
Yes, she's a look-see-loo.
But that's what they call them? Okay. But you let the realtor know, don't waste no time here. She ain't buying here.
Don't even get out there.
Don't even, just go over to them people over there. You got a shot. Talk about the pre-approval, why it's important to the home buyer person, but also why realtors, insist on that.
I insist on you getting pre-approved before we go out to look at houses. Because we don't have a lot of time in the day as real estate agents, especially as full-time agents. And so you don't want to waste your time going out, taking someone out. You're touring all of these houses, and they have a
I see all of these shows. You guys don't have a lot of time. I see you guys out there all dolled up, going to lunches all fancy, dressed with heels on, just doing all those things, going to open houses, just dressed up and dolled up. That's not it.
I'm leaving.
Exactly. I saw the thing where person's out there with a hammer, with a yard sign, banging in the realtors carrying a whole bunch of things in.
I was painting a foundation the other day in the heat. So.
Exactly. That's what you're doing.
Yes.
That's the true life of a realtor. That is the true life of a realtor.
Absolutely.
Not the whole glammed up and all those things we see in Selling Sunset and all those other. That's the sales part of it.
That's the sales part of it.
Okay,
yeah.
that's not reality.
You gotta make it look good.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, so here, what are things I need to get pre-approved?
So what you need to do is to get pre-approved. I would say just get with your real estate agent, get with your lender. You're gonna need things like bank statements, W-2s. You have to file your taxes, because I get that a lot. I haven't filed taxes in 3 years. Can't buy a house. Sorry.
No.
So it's just things like that, and really it's just all about educating. And that, again, that's what we're going to talk about in this show. We're going to educate you so that when you sit down in front of that lender, you're going to have all your ducks in a row and you're going to be ready to go.
Tracy Gerard here, already, and that's the realtor, working with a real estate agent. I see you guys, and it's a realtor with a big R. Is it disrespectful to have a realtor with a little R?
There's no such thing.
There's no.
No.
I'm sorry, I don't know. I just see you guys rolling around, you got your pictures on cars, pictures on billboards. What's the craziest thing that you ever done to get the word out for you?
Door knocking can be a little...
Just walking up to people's door?
Walking up and knocking on the door.
That's not the... No.
But I've done it.
Hi. What do you go up and say? Hi.
So normally...
Would you be willing to sell your house?
Yeah, so normally it is, like if I'm having an open house in that community, I'll knock on the door and invite the neighbors to the open house.
Why?
Well, really, it's just...
To let them know you're having it?
To let them know I'm having it.
They're not going to buy that house. They live next door.
They may want to pick their neighbors. You never know. They may have a relative that is, or mom and dad are aging, and they want to,
I see that.
Yeah.
I saw a thing where it was just like the person's parents moved across the street from them.
It's good.
And they're like, yo, that's the best.
That's the best.
Kid runs right across the street.
Yeah. You may want your husband to live across the street from you.
You been talking to my wife? It's just like, you need to make more money so you could live across the street or next door. Just come and visit. I ain't coming to visit you because I don't know what it's going to look like in there. This is the real talk of real estate.
Right.
This is the reality of real estate right here. The reasons why because it's just like, well, why do you go knock on the neighbor's door to tell them you're having an open house? Mm-hmm. They live there. They may love the neighborhood, and they'll tell all their friends, man, this is a great place to live.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
See, that's what we learn here. All right, Tracy Gerard, what else do people need to know about this process? We covered down payment, credit. What else do we cover?
Down payment.
Preparation. You got to get ready.
Yeah, that's the
main
thing.
My lease is up in December. Now it's not the time to be like, okay, I'm going to buy a house.
Well, you know what? I would say at least 6 months out, you want to start looking at things. You want to start looking at your bank statements. You want to start looking at, did I file taxes? You want to start looking at stuff. We can still help you, within that 60-day period. It's just going to be kind of stressful for you, So the more preparation that you have, I would say at least 6 months. But you kind of want to bump it out. I mean, if you can start getting ready, especially if you have some things on your credit that you need to clear up, you need to start as early as possible.
Hot areas. A lot of times you give us hot areas for people, whether it's investing or home buying areas. Hot area that you'd suggest to people right now
for investing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with investing, you know what I'm going to say to that. As long as the numbers make sense, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
As long
you don't have to worry about your kid going to school, or there's no.
As long as the money, yeah, you don't have to worry about any of that. I mean, if the numbers make sense, then that's a high area.
Really quickly, as we this is your show, but I didn't hijack it. Really quickly, how do you the numbers make sense? So you're buying a house to fix it up.
Mm-hmm.
Does Tracy know how to do all that stuff?
Yes, that's what I do. I mean, that's what I do for my husband's company, and then I have other investor clients that I work with. And so basically, finding that property, touring that property, looking at the repair value, and then turn around and running the comps on it to look at the after repair value. Like, what can you sell this house for after you buy it? Put the money in to fix it. What is it worth? And then what's your margin? And so if that number makes sense, then
you're right. All right, Tracy Gerard. Yes. One last time, how can people find you out there?
It is 804. One other
that's
thing.
That's right.
One other thing that I wanted to mention is when you do find your real estate agent, they're going to do what's called a buyer consultation. Okay, that's when they sit down and they talk to you about, all day. They're going to ask you a ton of questions, learn your goals and all that stuff. But a lot of times, I always tell people that as a buyer, you need to be interviewing your real estate agent as well. And that's really important because you are going to be spending a lot of time with this person. It takes about 30 to 45 days to purchase a house. So you want to make sure that you get along. You want to make sure that they respond the way that you would like them to respond. They communicate the way that their level of patience is where you need it to be. So as your agent is interviewing you, you need to interview your agent. And it's okay to say, we're not a good fit, and to find someone that, because you want this to be a good experience. And to do that, you need to have a buyer, you need to have, or either a seller, and you need to have a real estate agent, and it needs to be a good fit. It just makes the process a lot
You have people who come back to you multiple times to buy homes.
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Explain how that happens.
It's just you do a good job.
They connected.
Yeah, you connected, you just do a great job. And that's my main goal, is just to do a great job. I treat it as if, like, this is my mother's house, or this is my son buying a house. And that's how I treat my clients, and they come back to me. And that's the greatest feeling when you get a call and it's like, hey, Tracy, and they want to work with you again, or they've referred you to their friends and family.
There you go. Yep. Tracy Gerard. One last time. How do they get to you?
804-400-0456. Thank you for joining us with Real Estate with Tracy.
Oh, next week, who do you have?
I have Ryan Wiederhold with Guild Mortgage. Now, we're going to be taking a deeper dive into the lending part.
Because it's different. You're here talking to me, and I know nothing. You're talking to him.
Yes.
It's two pros doing it.
So Ryan and I have been working together for about 7 years. Yes. And it's really hard to find a good lending partner. And when you can find one that he's a hustler just like I am.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is a
really
beautiful thing.
So, yeah.
Tracy Gerard walks in.
The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here!
Tracy Gerard, the best in the business. All right, take care now.
Thank you.